Hello, and welcome to Start Adventuring, a channel dedicated to empowering new role players to break down their barriers and just start adventuring. I'm Ben.
And I'm Baxter. And this is going to be our 3 lessons video in running Shemshime's Bedtime Rhyme. And really we found that while this is super applicable to the module itself, it can actually be really used for any one-on-one D&D or one-shot D&D. So good stuff here for anybody.
Yeah, we're trying to learn by running all of these Candlekeep Mysteries, and we hope to pass that learning on to you. So without any further ado, let's talk about our 3 lessons. The first big lesson that we have from running this adventure is really lean into the event structure that it presents.
Right.
If you've read the module, as you know, it's listed out with, I believe, 6 events that kind of provide the touch points for the story as it goes. But it does give the advice that you can vary the pacing of the events. Like, for example, I front-loaded a lot of the events and kind of condensed some of them in the hopes that it would, get the action going. But
Right.
if you wanted your players to spend longer trying to figure out what was going on and to live in that mystery longer, you might, stretch out the beginning and pack the events in at the end. But really leaning into that structure and how you're pacing those events will do a great deal for you in terms of the feel of your game.
Right. And something that lends itself really well to, and you and I have kind of talked about as well in kind of a broader respect, it's a lot better to have a self-contained story in a one-shot, because I think that generally speaking, if you have it kind of open-ended at the beginning or end, while that feels like it makes it better because you can just add whatever at the beginning or the end, I think that it really hinders the call to action, as well as, in some cases, like the potency of the resolution, because it's just like, if it ends with, and then life goes on, it maybe feels a little less weighted, the actions of what was going on.
Yeah, I think co-opting this event structure for other adventures that maybe don't provide such a, structured through line would be valuable too. I think it's a great way just to prep a session in general. Right. So take it as a lesson for how to think about how you're designing a one-shot adventure just overall.
Yeah, totally agree. Our second point is that you can flavor the Shemshime ghost or spirit or book to kind of be whatever you'd like it to be. Meaning that it doesn't have to be kind of this spooky ghost if you don't want it to be. You can make it a arcane book that is magically keeping everybody there unless you solve its riddle or its puzzles. It could be a trickster spirit that instead of wanting to be malicious and harm people, it just wants to have fun. I think that is just kind of in its essence a great way to have it fit into your style of play.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is that it helps you control for the level of horror, maybe,
right,
that your players want. Because as written, this is a super spooky ghost. Like, I really think you could go really hardcore in the direction of making it scary, like that movie Sinister, where the monster lives in the home movies, and now, the ghost is in your head or whatever. But you could also easily make this work in a more lighthearted way, especially because there are children involved in the module as written. I think for some people it's a sensitive topic. For some people, that's A+ horror stuff, scary things around children. But for other players and other tables, it might be more fun to do something more whimsical, and I think you should feel at liberty to do that. This module does not live and die on being scary.
Right, and that's kind of, we talk about it, it comes down to flavor and lore, right? You don't have to keep to the lore of a module. You can write your own lore and your own adventure, but keeping some of the same principles and structures that a module offers.
Right, it does the action for you, and all of the other stuff is just you.
Exactly.
The third and final lesson, which should be evident from the title of the adventure, but lean into the song and the concentration checks around the song coming into the player characters' heads. When we were running it, it really lends itself to the sense of urgency, and the module gives suggestions as to when you might use this, but I would say be very deliberate about how you're deploying those checks for urgency's sake and also for flavor's sake, because it does make a tonal difference to the adventure.
Right. Honestly, the thing that I think about is the song should provide urgency, like define the urgency of the situation, and also show the progression of it. So it should start off slower and then build and build and build as a way to really define, hey, something is starting maybe, but as the adventure goes, it becomes more and more clear that it's getting worse.
Yeah, when we ran it, it started out pretty bad, but you could even have it just be like a song that gets stuck in your head, which is a normal thing that happens to people. And then, like Baxter said, that progression over time is part of the build of both the urgency and the excitement about the adventure. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is by no means an exhaustive list of advice for running Shemshime's Bedtime Rhyme, but these are 3 big takeaways that we had from the adventure, and we hope you find it useful. If you do find any of this advice helpful, please like this video. And if you want to support our mission of encouraging new role players and learning as we play together, please subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you as a part of the Start Adventuring community. And last but not least, like I said, this was not an exhaustive list of advice. And if you have your own advice for running this module, please contribute down below in the comments. We'd love to hear what you took away from this adventure, what worked for you and what didn't.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested in more in-depth discussion, Ben and I do put out a Patreon-only video for all of our Adventure Starter Plus patrons, where we pretty much just kind of go in depth a little bit more about what we felt about the adventure, our ideas, our thoughts. So if that sounds like something of interest to you, go check that out. There'll be a link in the description box down below.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, there are none, so you could be the first to get your hands on that sweet secret knowledge. But thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching all of our videos. We appreciate having you here, and we hope that you'll stick with us as we continue to learn playing these Candlekeep Mysteries. And until we talk to you again, I'm Ben.
And I'm Baxter. And remember, start adventuring.
Just start adventuring.